Do you feel like there is a view that things are positive or negative?
I think there's a lot of short-term anxiety, seeing what's going on with Russia and Ukraine, just the general slowdown of markets in the last, let's say, 1 to 2 months. But what we're seeing, especially on the crypto side, the private markets are booming. People are investing a ton into this space. And so we think the longer-term outlook is pretty positive.
But you think private markets just in crypto or private markets across the board? Because private markets should be correlated to some degree to public market valuations.
In general, true. In crypto specifically, though, it is something else.
Well, can we talk about that, though?
Sure.
Is it something else, though? Because one of the things that we've always talked about is Bitcoin and some of these other currencies are not supposed to be correlated to the markets, and yet they seem to be very correlated to the markets.
I think in risk-off situations, everything is correlated. All correlations go to one when people are generally afraid of what's happening in the market. I think in other situations, there seems to be idiosyncratic vol between cryptocurrencies and more traditional assets like stocks and bonds.
Do you have a take on Bitcoin? At $42,000, I think, right now this morning?
Typically, as the exchange operator, we try not to take a specific take on Bitcoin's price moves exactly, but we think that the general long-term outlook is positive.
Let me ask you this, though. Right now, in terms of buying and selling, do you see more action still around Bitcoin? Is Ethereum picking up? I mean, how do you see this playing itself out?
Sure. So we talk about Bitcoin dominance, which is the percentage of the total market cap and market moves coming from Bitcoin.
Right.
That has been going down steadily over time. Assets like Ether, other alternative proof of stake assets like Solana, and these other alternative coins are all picking up in terms of total market cap. So I think over time, we're just going to see less and less of the total market share come from just one asset.
From one asset?
From just one Bitcoin alone.
And in terms of institutional support, that's always the other question.
Sure.
I mean, this was focused obviously on retail.
Right.
You hear chatter constantly that, pension funds and others are going to get into this space.
Yep.
But they haven't really yet.
It's true.
So what do you think is really happening behind the scenes?
We have hundreds of conversations with pension funds and family offices, large banks that want to get into crypto. All of their employees are privately into crypto, but the actual companies themselves aren't yet. It's a question of compliance and regulation, and many are waiting to pull the trigger for there to be more regulatory clarity in the U.S., especially around the exchanges like ours.